Erica, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than normal, and it's something that's actually really important to me and something that I kind of want to start interweaving into my channel and just making some videos about, and that is my love for acting and my love for film. So as I've mentioned a lot of times in my videos is that I am an actor, and I don't really talk about that life because I feel like, you know, it's separate than my YouTube life, but I kind of want to start conglomerating it. I want to like put it all together and kind of start making content that includes, of course, my love for books, but also my love for movies and just my life as an actor kind of in general. Not that it's that exciting, I don't really get to do a lot of acting, you know, yet, but anyway. So, you guys remember I made my favorite book to movie adaptations video, and I actually loved making that video. It took me a long time to want to put it out just because I had to like make sure it was perfect, and I have a hard time sometimes talking about things for some reason. I don't know. I love discussing movies, and movies are something that I care so much about. I'm very passionate about the craft of acting and filmmaking in general, and it's something that I've really grown to love in a really deep way, and something that I literally cry about like every other day because it just means so much to me. I love watching cast interviews and just director interviews and just behind the scenes clips in general. So I kind of want to start interweaving like movies I watch and things that have helped me as an actor and those types of things. I think for this first video I'm just going to kind of talk about how I got into acting and kind of where I'm at now. So hopefully it's not too long, but it might be a little long, so I apologize. But it's really important to me, and I kind of want to start sharing that with everyone else because it's going to kind of explain the content I'm going to want to be making once in a while. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so I didn't grow up as like a child actor. I didn't really start doing theater until basically my sophomore year of high school. A lot of people grew up doing community theater and dancing and singing and everything when they were really little. I of course sang as a child. I was in choir, I played piano, I was really into band as a kid, especially once I got into high school. I was like the biggest band geek, but I never really took like theater seriously. My sister was really involved in our drama department when she was in high school. I always thought it was so cool seeing her do productions and be in rehearsals, and I loved seeing her shows, and they were so amazing back then. And I even auditioned for a show when I was in elementary school, but I never got cast, so, you know, it's okay. So I never really thought of theater as like a thing to pursue. You know, people say they want to be an actor or whatever, but it's just kind of like, you can't do that. Like, as a kid, it's not something that people really tell you can do unless you're raised in a community or like a family that really that's like prominent, that you're taking singing and dancing and you're doing all the acting things that like you can believe you can do it as a career. So I never really like assumed I could do it, and I just never really got involved. But then my freshman year of high school, I decided to audition for our spring musical, which was Annie. I have so many horror stories about that production. It was just a hot mess. I actually did not get cast in that show. I wasn't really that beat up about it. I really only auditioned because my friends wanted me to. And then one day they lost a cast member just because she like had to back out for personal reasons. And my friend's like, hey, just come to rehearsal. So she brought me to rehearsal, and then they just kind of threw me into the ensemble, which was like fine. That show was honestly a hot mess. It was just, I did not have a very good experience. Like, it wasn't a terrible experience for my first time, but it wasn't the best experience. Like, I wasn't really that serious about it. And then at the time I actually wanted to be a band director. Like, I was so excited to go to college, be in marching band, and become like a music education person. Like, I wanted to be a band director, and that was just kind of the thing I decided. And then my sophomore year, I auditioned for our play. We got a new director, sort of, and I got like a lead part, which I was kind of excited about, especially because all my friends were in it. And that production was also a hot mess. It was called We the People. Like, honestly, just thinking about it, like, it was just ridiculous, but it was a lot of memorization, and it was a lot of stage time for me, which I really enjoyed. And even then I was kind of like, okay, this is just for fun. And then that spring we got a different director, and we did Little Women the musical, and as you guys have probably heard me talk about on this channel, I love Little Women. That story is so near and dear to my heart because of that production that we did my sophomore year. I actually got to play Beth, and I got to be in the show with all my best friends. I went to a really small private school, so it wasn't like a huge competition, but there were a lot of really talented people in our school, and I mean, I was so scared because I wanted that part very badly because my best friend was playing Jo, and I mean, mean, my best friend wanted Joe. She didn't like. So my best friend, I was really hoping my best friend was gonna get Joe, and then I could be Beth because we already felt like sisters anyway because she was a couple years older than me, and I just knew that it was gonna be something special. So we auditioned, and I remember that day, like, it was the day of our final exams before Christmas break, and I was so nervous. I had been rehearsing so much, and I thought I like had it pretty well, and then I didn't realize my friends were all staying after school before the audition. I like went to my other friend's house, and I had to run all the way back to the school, and I literally wore like jeans and like these moccasins. I got wet. I don't even know what was happening. It was just, I was so anxious, and then I went into the audition. It wasn't like serious, of course. It was just high school, and we didn't have like a huge drama department, but I thought I did pretty well in the audition. I had to wait all of Christmas break before they finally post the cast list, and that was like such torture. I was so scared. And then that day, that first day back, I go to the room and I saw that I got that. And I remember I had like some books in my hand, I threw them on the floor, I ran up to my teacher, my favorite teacher, and I was like, I got that, and she literally knew because she like helped the audition, but I was so excited anyway. And my best friend got Joe, and my other friends were in the show, and it was like a dream come true for like high school me, and it was such a great time. And I wasn't like that great of a singer, but it was just like the best. Like, I love rehearsals, I love the rehearsal process, and I just knew it was something special, and that show has always meant the world to me and always will. Literally, if I could play Beth in anything, like a movie or a musical version again, like I would do it in a heartbeat. It wasn't until my junior year of high school that I really kind of started to see theater as something that I could possibly pursue. I got cast as a lead in our play Hooray for Hollywood, and I had so much fun in that part, and I loved that production. We actually did such a great job. Like, our set was pretty cool. Like, it was, you know, not amazing for like high school, but like still really fun, and we had awesome props. Like, we had this gun that actually like sounded like real, and that was just so cool to us. When I didn't get cast as the lead in our musical for Aida, I was like so bummed, but I actually got the understudy, and then I got to be in the ensemble, and I was so dramatic as a kid. Like, I hate myself like in high school, but it was actually when I was in the ensemble of Aida that I realized I think I wanted to pursue musical theater as like a career. And recently, my favorite band director had left, and I kind of had lost my passion for music in that way. I love music, of course, but I realized I wasn't good enough at a single instrument to pursue music ed in a way that I actually thought I would succeed, and I just kind of lost my passion for that, like wanting to be a band director. And I really enjoyed theater. Like, I really enjoyed being on stage. I really loved the singing and the dancing and the acting. I loved it all so much. Like, as soon as the lights go on, like, I just knew that that was where I was meant to be. So once I decided I wanted to be an actor, I mean, I honestly don't remember how like this all came about. Like, I don't even remember this decision to actually start pursuing it. Like, it just feels really foggy to me, but all the good things in my life feel that way. And I started looking into musical theater programs, and I was very unprepared. I hadn't taken any like singing lessons, I hadn't taken any dance lessons. I don't know what I was thinking. Like, I didn't have like natural talent, I don't think. I mean, I was a decent singer, so I talked to my choir director, and he started giving me private voice lessons, so that was like a good thing. My mom then let me have dance lessons, so I started taking dance, and that was a struggle. Like, I really enjoyed it, but it was definitely not easy for me at all, like as someone who didn't grow up taking dance. But I did have a lot of fun with it. I started looking into musical theater programs, and I talked to somebody who had actually gone to the college I ended up at. She was an amazing musical theater performer. Like, she's doing amazing things now, and I talked to her on the phone, and she gave me a lot of pointers, and I just kind of knew that it was out of my league, that I maybe wasn't going to be able to do it, but I just kind of put that doubt behind me and was like, I can do this, like whatever. When you're auditioning for musical theater schools, you actually really need to have a big list of schools you want to audition for, because musical theater programs are very small, and you're pursuing a BFA, which is a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and a lot of schools sometimes don't offer that, and musical theater is very competitive, especially for women. So if you're thinking about it, there's the thing. You need to audition at a lot of schools. You need to be very well trained, you need to know your ballet terms, you need to know your music, you just need to have all of that stuff behind you, and I did not have that. The only thing I had really was I could sing okay, I guess, and I only auditioned for 2 colleges, y'all. 2, like, you're not supposed to do that because you probably won't get in. No offense, like, that's just my reality. I am not as talented as a lot of other people, and that was just something I needed to accept. I was very confident in high school, especially by my senior year. Well, I don't even know what we did. Let's see. Okay, so my senior year we did a one-act play, and I mean, it was really small, so I got like a lead part, but like everyone had lead parts basically because there's nobody auditioning for that year. And then I realized, was it my junior year or senior year? I can't even remember. But I auditioned for Ohio Northern University and Wright State University because those are the only schools I visited. And had I known all this, if I'd been more prepared and had auditioned for more schools, maybe I could have gotten in somewhere for musical theater. In my senior year, finally we get to, you know, audition season. It's usually like, I can't even remember, like the end or beginning of the year. And I found out literally within a few hours of each other that I didn't get into a musical theater program at ONU or at Wright State. And the same time I lost my piano teacher. She had passed away from years of battling cancer, and I remember just being like an emotional wreck. I was so upset, but it was crazy to me because now I look back and I actually got into the acting program at Wright State University, and their acting program there was actually really competitive, and you could even like not get into there, whereas like at ONU, if you don't get into the BFA program, they automatically let you into the BA program to pursue theater. I was just really disappointed in myself, and I know looking back now that I literally didn't do enough to like get into a school. You know, I just didn't have that background and I didn't have that information. I didn't really understand really what I was supposed to be doing, even though I talked to somebody. I wasn't sure. I was doing this on my own. I didn't have family who really knew what was best for me, or friends or anything like that. So it was all kind of confusing, and I was really upset with myself. I was really mad that I didn't get into the BFA programs. I was like such an emotional wreck for so long because I just lost my piano teacher, and I remember my choir director, voice teacher at the time, was so great to me, and he really helped me through it in a really hard time, and I just really appreciate him for all that because he never stopped believing in me. I had one teacher who, as soon as I changed my mind about something, just kind of cut off her confidence in me, and that really, really hurt. And it wasn't like that. I was just dramatic back then, so whatever. But that was definitely like a hard reality check, and then I was like, okay, now what? I don't know what else to do because I didn't want to just study theater. I wanted to do musical theater. Ugh, I hate myself for this. But anyway, so senior year continues. I decided to apply to a school in Chicago without my parents knowing. I did it all behind their back. They told me they didn't want me to go out of state. What did I do? I went against them. I was a rebellious teenager. Now I wasn't like rebellious in that I did really horrible things, but I mean, I was kind of rebellious. Like I really didn't care, and like now I'm not like that much, but I mean, anyway. So I applied for Columbia College Chicago, and I actually got in for musical theater, but that's because they didn't have you audition for the BFA program until you were already there. But I got into their BA program, and it's an all-art school, and I told my mom, and I said I was gonna go, and she let me go. So yeah, so my senior year of high school, we did like that one-act play, and then we did Footloose for the musical. I was rusty. That was really fun. I mean, it wasn't like, it was a really good time. Like, I really enjoyed it. Senior year, you know, comes and goes, and then I go to Columbia, and I hated Columbia, everybody. I hated it. A lot of people enjoy it, but I did not like it for musical theater. I just really had the worst time. I hated like a bunch of my theater foundations classes. Those were horrible to me. And I liked my dance classes, and then I got to take voice lessons and stuff, but I realized that I was not having a good time. I think I realized that musical theater was something I liked doing for fun, like singing and dancing, but I don't think I was like, I don't think I could ever pursue this as a career. I was auditioning, I wasn't getting cast in anything because at Columbia you like have to audition for everything. I mean, not everything, but like most things. I just kind of realized that it wasn't really the place for me, and I should have realized that the first year, but I went back for my sophomore year and I hated it even more. I literally contemplated just dropping out of school altogether because I was so unhappy, and that's just like such a long story, so I'm not going to get into all those details. And then my sophomore year, I decided to audition for other schools, their other musical theater programs, even though I was kind of going back back and forth. I didn't think I wanted to do musical theater, but I thought maybe I should just keep going because I already had like those credits. I decided to audition for Ohio Northern again and then like a Cincinnati school, and I didn't get into musical theater again for those, and I didn't get into acting. It was just a hot mess. But I got into the theater program at ONU. I visited again and I realized that it was definitely kind of the place I was meant to be. The teachers are just so sweet and so genuine, and they really build you up. At Columbia, I felt like it was so easy for the teachers to tear you down, but they didn't really know how to build you back up. You have to get really comfortable with criticism, and I still feel like hurt by it, but I like also take it really well than I used to. And so I know that's helpful, but it's one thing when you criticize somebody and you don't give them the tools to, you know, figure out how they can get better. They were just criticizing and criticizing, and I just never knew how to get better. Like, I just couldn't figure it out, and they couldn't help me with that. It was so good for me to leave Columbia, and I felt so much better at ONU. I was pursuing theater and arts administration and taking really amazing acting classes and just really enjoying my life a lot more, but I realized I wanted to start focusing on film. So it was kind of before I started at ONU that I realized I wanted to be a film actor, and I actually kind of have a good story as to how I decided this. I mean, not a great story, it was just kind of like whatever. My summer, was it 2014 to 2015? Around there. Like between my sophomore and junior year of college. Oh, it might have been like freshman and sophomore year. I don't really remember. It was actually, yeah, okay, so it was between my freshman and sophomore year of college that I decided that I thought that I wanted to be a film actor, and I was watching the behind the scenes of The Hobbit clips with my sisters when it suddenly hit me, like, that's what I have to do. Like, I have to work on films because I loved the behind the scenes clips, I loved the magic of making movies, and I love theater with my whole heart, but I kind of realized I wanted to do film. Unfortunately, when I transferred to ONU, they didn't have like a film program, whereas Columbia actually did have an acting for film program, but I just didn't want to be at Columbia, and I was closer to home when I was at ONU. But it was at ONU that I discovered my love for Shakespeare. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, I was so intimidated to learn Shakespeare for so long because I'm not that good of an actor. You have to be like an amazing actor to pull off Shakespeare, and I really struggled with like my voice and like that vocal technique you have to have as an actor, which I know is sad. Like, that's just, I've always had a struggle. Like, I've always struggled, and I've had to work extra hard to do things that other people just have naturally, which like sucks, but it also makes you appreciate what you can do more after that. So I took a voice and speech class and got a lot better at monologue work, and then my senior year I got to take Acting 3 Shakespeare, and literally you get to learn a Shakespeare monologue, and then you get to perform a Shakespeare scene with your classmates, and oh my gosh, it just meant the world to me. My teacher, Brian Sage, if he ever sees this, he changed my life, and he made me the actor I feel like I am today. Everything I learned I pretty much picked up from his class. He just really was patient with me, and even though I was just not confident in myself, and there's so many choices I wish I would have made in those classes that I like totally regret, but I mean, you just have to keep going at it and just learn from them. And so when I took my Shakespeare class, I got super confident in Shakespeare. Like, I can break down a monologue, perform it. I have like 4 Shakespeare monologues memorized, more than like contemporary monologues, and I just feel like it's something that I would definitely want to pursue in the future, is a Shakespeare production, just because I love it so much. And it's so much more challenging, but everything is pretty much in front of you. You just have to learn how to break it apart. That Shakespeare class is what really made me feel like I could call myself an actor, which was like the best feeling. Like, I've definitely cried in those classes, and I love journaling about them, and I have all my journals from those acting classes, so I can remember my experiences and my discoveries and the lessons I've learned. So those are what really the classes that made me realize that I have to keep pursuing acting, and that it's like something that's really special to me. I mean, I don't know, it just meant the world, and I haven't acted a lot outside of school, which like kind of sucks. So when I was at ONU, I did a couple productions, and I worked behind the scenes for a couple things, but I still never really got cast in a lot, which was always really hard. There's so many more talented people, more confident people, people who deserve so much more than I do, but it does get discouraging because like you work so hard and you think you're really ready for something, and then you just keep being told no, and you have to wait. I know there's a yes out there somewhere for me. It just doesn't come as easily. So besides like college acting, I have acted or performed like professionally, sort of. So I worked at Cedar Point for 2 summers as like a character performer, and then in the kids shows the next year, which that was super fun. It's like feels kind of cool to get paid for performing, and it was like kind of a dream job almost at that time. And then I decided to move to Chicago to pursue like dramaturgy and literary management. I'm here and I'm still trying to work on acting. I've done a couple gigs as an extra for some films, and then I've done some auditions, but I've done one theater production, which meant a lot to me, but I haven't done as much as I have wanted to in these last 2 years. I just work so much, and I just hate that I feel like I don't have the time to do it all. But after this quarantine, I am so determined to get myself out there, get my headshots, my website, just build myself up as an actor, and finally like start auditioning a lot. Like I just want to be performing all the time. I've taken some acting classes while I've been here, just like a monologue class and an acting for film class, and those are the things that keep me going. And I just want to keep working really, really hard because acting is all I can think about. And if it's something you can't stop thinking about, like don't stop thinking about it. You have to just work really hard, and hopefully one day it'll pay off. And everything happens at a different time for everybody, and you shouldn't compare yourself. But for me to be here for 2 years, sometimes I just feel really disappointed in myself because I haven't like done all these things that other people have done. But I know it'll come, it'll happen eventually, and I just have to keep working hard and be confident in myself, and it'll all pay off in the end. So basically at this point now, I just want to keep learning and growing, and I want to pursue film, but I also want to make sure I pursue theater. So I just want to audition for everything, get myself out there, get lots of experience, because this is my craft and this is what I love to do, and I never want anything to deter me from that, and that's my dream. Like, I've been kind of questioning it, but as soon as I watch like another interview or behind the scenes clip, I know like I will be in tears because I know that this is what I have to do with my life. And that is it. That is how I got into acting and what I'm doing kind of right now. And I don't know if you guys want to know more about acting and like why I love film so much. And I'm going to be talking about some like movies that I've watched recently, hopefully in some other videos. That is all I have for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EricaAGobble. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!